Hello everyone, and welcome to another Daily Muppet. Today's video I want to talk about the investor call that occurred early this morning, comments made by Richard Arnold, John Murtaugh, and the state of the finances at Manchester United, confirming some of the fears that we've had leading in from the end of summer and why things may not be looking good for the future. From a financial outlook, and why this all ties in, of course, to the necessity for a sale of the club from the Glazers to allow for a different chapter in Manchester United. But we'll talk about all that in a moment. Talk about Frankie de Jong, some of the comments that he made. Talk about Harry Maguire, the story that came out there, and all of the interviews and the things that have happened, as well as look at what is the most likely window now, confirming kind of again some of the things we've been talking about recently based on present financial outlooks at Manchester United. Today's video is once again brought to you by OneFootball. We've teamed up with OneFootball to help bring you the best in football news. If you're looking to keep up with everything going on these days, and it is a lot, download the OneFootball app today for free on your iPhone or Android. Their easy-to-use app is clean and attractive. The latest transfers, top news curated for you, match scores live, streaming without subscription, and so much more, all built and personalized for your interests. Click the link in the description below today to download OneFootball and get all your football news, aside from the Muppeteers, of course, all in one place. So, I want to talk about this investor call. Let me pull up some of the things that came out this morning, some of the comments. And, one thing I just want to bear in mind is, these are the comments by Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh. The investor call, it's interesting that the Glazers are never there. It's not interesting in a good way, but it's interesting in a bad way. A notable way that the Glazers are never there for the investor calls. So if you feel the need to be upset with people who are on this investor call based on their comments, things that they've said, bear in mind that this is what they're being told to say by the board of directors. Just understand that. I think it's important. It's not to say, again, everybody shares the blame in where things are at United, where things have been. But as a lot of what I revealed through summer as well, information behind the scenes, Thiago tapes, things like that, I think it's important to not let guys like Richard Arnold or John Murtaugh become the stooges for mismanagement from the top. To not let them become the punching bags, to have the ire be directed at them. I don't think that's right. And I think it actually lets, the Glazers off the hook and ignores some of the important things that are there. Some of the important things that are there overall. From who's actually responsible for what's going on. So this investor call is a thing that comes out, I think it's every quarter, kind of detailing responses. I think this one is completing the last fiscal year and is looking at where things are actually at. And unfortunately, Manchester United have picked up, based on this investor call, a loss. The largest loss we've had financially at Manchester United, which was somewhere in the range of £112 million of a financial loss. And that is a concerning number. Over the last 2 years, Manchester United has lost over $200 million. The net debt has increased over $300 million. This means that the credit facilities that are there are being drawn down in order to pay for ongoing function. The commercial revenue was up 11%. Broadcasting was down 15%. That would be mostly due to missing Champions League. We got Champions League last year, but later rounds of Champions League, it also includes the missing Champions League from year before and the knockout rounds. Match day was obviously up over COVID, and the total revenue was up 18%. However, the net debt was up 22%. So when the revenues are up and the debt is higher and the losses are $100 million, it means the expenses at Manchester United are so high that they are kind of overwhelming. And bear in mind, this would be during the period when there was the highest wage period for Manchester United following the signing of Ronaldo and such. It's concerning. This is just concerning. It's a concerning thing because the money's not there. As I've said, they've drawn down on these credit facilities. They've used up all the money that they have. Money isn't available for cheap anymore. There's high interest rates. Nothing is available as cheap as it was before. And it's very concerning because Manchester United's revenue is not keeping up with the expense. The wages are at their peak, even though they cleared people off. And this was down to, some major signings. Obviously, Casemiro, Eriksen, Malaysia, Antony, who am I missing? Martinez. These are big expenses, the largest spend window that United have ever had. And the money is not there for it. So there's a couple of ways to view this. One is that, a long time ago in 2019, I heard that United had intended in 2020 to go big, spend a bunch of money, use up some of those credit facilities, go for the top, and be able to sell at the high point when the value of the club is at its peak based on winning. The commercial value and potential commercial avenues for a club like Manchester United with its huge fan base and global reach, if the club is successful and back in Champions League, it's an extremely valuable club and would become very valuable during this time. However, when we look at this financial loss and where things stand now, the concern is there's no money moving forward because this is more debt that has to be serviced. There's more transfer debt that has to be serviced. There's more payments that have to be serviced. The money isn't there to spend much more. It's running at a loss. It's not running at break even, where even, every time you're clearing wages, you're getting money you can spend. It's running at a loss where it needs a boost of revenue. If they miss out on Champions League next year, losing 40, 50 million from Adidas, they've gone all in and have to feel that this summer they've done enough to get Champions League and win some things, because if not, the situation at the club is entirely untenable and facing a very, very bad financial situation overall. That's just the fact of it. When you look at the financials of it, where's the extra money going to come from? They're going to have to start culling. Let Ronaldo go, let De Gea go, let these players go without replacement just to get back to a point where they can service the debts effectively and all of that. So the financial situation is getting into a bit of a disarray. The commercial improvements have not kept up. The income from winning, from trophies, from revenue, from TV has not increased to the level that it needs to be due to the lack of on-the-pitch success. So we're starting to really see, not starting, but we're reaching the lowest point ever where United's failures on the pitch are starting to really translate to financial failures off the pitch. So, that's where it is. That's the reality. And this was my warning in summer, was that there's no money there. Why, and I think they had to make a decision. I think this relating to the sale, I'm going to give my opinion here, which is somewhat of an educated opinion in this, but it is an opinion all the same. They had to make a decision at one point. Do we not spend any more money while they were exploring sales? At that time, they had started receiving offers, but they were in the range of $3 and $3.5 billion, where the price is being mentioned. And I think they recognized we could get $4.5, $5 billion if this club was back on top. So we're going to throw everything we have into it, because the debt isn't going to matter at that point. We're going to throw everything we have into it. Throw another $100 million in the market, pump it up, make it, but it has to work, because their gamble they're saying is, do we get $4.5 billion for this club by spending that extra 100, or $3.5 billion because the club is not successful and we face 2 bad starting games and all of that, and it doesn't look like we're going to get Champions League this summer? So I think that's the comparison that they're making. It's a gamble, because if they spend all this money and it doesn't work, then they're going to have more debts, and still the club will only be worth $3.5 billion. But they do believe it, and they do believe that what they've spent will raise the value of the club. And that's my opinion, that they believe that spending that extra money and plunging the club further into debt was enough to raise the value of the club, or enough to give Ten Hag the tools to win enough that the value of the club by next summer, which is why I don't think this is going to be quick, by maybe March, April, the club's going to be looking good. They're maybe on track for trophies, Champions League, all of that. And then the club will, and they may hold on to some assets, but then the club may look much more attractive financially, and they can hold out for the price that they want for the club overall should they sell. That's my opinion, sort of an educated opinion, but a little bit of a look at how I see things going, because I don't see, if they make Champions League next year, it's only going to increase the revenues a little bit. They're going to still have to clear huge wages. So I don't see how the club can improve on the current team, on the current structures, do the stadium, do anything under current management without a huge influx of money. I don't see how. Talking about John Murtaugh. John Murtaugh made comments here, and this is why I said, it would be nice to sit there and just, blame them. But, John Murtaugh, said that there's still a long way to go. We're ahead of schedule. Do not anticipate the same level of activity in future windows. As always, our planning focuses on the summer window. So as confirmed what I said earlier, nothing in January. I would expect absolutely no signings in January. And in addition to that, when you look at the summer next year, under current management, the money is not there. The money is not there. And I'll talk about what I expect to be next. I think in a video earlier this summer, I said you make a signing like Antony, and this isn't about the player. I'm talking about financials. You make that signing about like Antony, you spend that $100 million. Next summer signing are those loan players. Next summer signings are Hannibal, Ethan Laird, Dean Henderson. Those are next summer signings. Understand that. I said that months ago, and it is coming to pass that will be likely the case. So, that's the reality of it there. I know people are very angry about that statement, focusing on summer windows, not expecting the same level of activity, while Ten Hag is saying improving structures and all that. And I think that ties into two things. One, doing a lot better with purchasing so you can spend just on the right people to get the result that you need, get the players that you need, the recruitment structure, the scouting, the analytics, all of that. And two, is there potentially an investor there? And three, sales of the actual players at the club. But in the meantime, part of the concern is I want to talk about Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong came out with the Dutch team and said that he had made the decision in May to stay. And frankly, this was the concern I said all along. Are United's hierarchy lying? What are they doing all this time when he had decided to stay? He was sure he was staying. He was going to stay. And that's why I said this looks like Sancho 2020 all over again. They've done this before. And I'm like, what happened this entire time that they could not get this deal done? When he's sitting there saying, no, I'm relaxed. I was never leaving. I never wanted to leave. I never wanted to go. I know players lie. Maybe there was moments of wavering, but it's not great. The Dutch players tend to be pretty forthright in what they're saying. It's not great to see that, and confirms everything. And so regardless of the financial situation, it's still about why can they not be honest and direct with fans? Why did they not move on months earlier? And that's where the structures need to change. And you have to wonder still, how much involvement is there from the Glazers at the top in all of that happening? Moving forward from that, I really want to talk about what's next. What's going to happen next? As I said, it's either that things go well and there becomes a sale, or things don't, or things go well and there's no sale, or things go poorly. But this is what I see. I think you're going to see the retention of players like Rashford, Fred, etc. Hopefully on even-keeled kind of contracts. You're going to see those extra years extended so they have time leading up to summer to see where things are at. If you start seeing those extra years triggered, then that's going to tell you they're holding off on new contracts and new spending, which may be an indication of a sale. A new contract wouldn't say it isn't, but holding off on new contracts would be somewhat interesting. But at the moment in time, because there's no money for purchases, you're going to see them holding on to players like Rashford, Fred, coming down to the last year of their contract. Next summer, as it stands, this is what I see as the main avenues. We know that a striker, a right back, and a goalkeeper are needed. I believe that Donny van de Beek will be sold. If things stay as they are, Donny van de Beek would be up for sale. Ronaldo would be released, and that would fund a striker, because you'd be freeing up about $25 million a year there, maybe getting $15, $20 million plus another, 5-10 million in wages from Van de Beek. That would allow you to get a good top striker on 150, 200K a week, and with those funds. I think you would see David De Gea needing to accept a lower contract to stay at the club to try to lower the expense overall. Dean Henderson would come back as the goalkeeper signing. If it doesn't work out, he will be sold and his funds would be used to buy a replacement. And Ethan Laird will likely be the right back signing, coming in with Wan-Bissaka being sold. That's the most likely outcome for next summer. That's likely it, if there is not money put into the club, because there just isn't the money there. There's a 50 million further draw on that credit line. I believe that 150 million Bank of America thing is essentially full. There is not money, and the payments from this summer are going to go into next summer. They're going to have those payments as well. So I don't see, beyond an influx of cash from something, anything beyond one significant signing next year that is still predicated on Ronaldo leaving. That's just the reality of it. That's what we have to face right now. And so, Murtaugh, Ten Hag, the people within the club and the football side of it are going to be working like normal, moving forward, trying to improve the structures, improving the recruitment, still working on this data science, analytics, and recruitment area, because they're going to have to get it really, really right next summer. As things stand currently, they're not going to be told, hey, yeah, there might be a sale or an influx of cash that'll let us spend all this money. But that's the reality of the club today. That's what it faces. That's where things are. And so I think you're going to see a lot of holding on to a lot of assets, because you're not going to be able to make a high turnover. So they're going to need to keep people and start cutting the wage budget down again, with Ronaldo, De Gea as the main candidates for that, Van de Beek, Wan-Bissaka, and bringing in more affordable replacements in the form of Dean Henderson, Laird, and maybe a striker who's a young striker who's on decent wages. So that's where things stand right now. The only other thing I wanted to mention, there was the story from Harry Maguire. Like I said, I don't think it has anything to do with Harry Maguire. It's already been kind of clarified that it wasn't. That it was maybe just someone around him giving his opinion. Whatever. I don't want to see more leaking from anybody about any players attacking people, all of that. And I think that it's not something Ten Hag will like. I think everybody needs to be careful now. You can't control what random people are saying that claim to be a source about their opinions and things like that. But as fans, I would say, as well, really try to keep in the same group with the team and the club. Personally, I think Martinez and Varane are first choice center backs. But I think there's nothing. Harry Maguire's handled being on the bench for 4 games, 5 games. Well, there's nothing that's come out. There hasn't been leaked stories through the season. There hasn't been anger. There hasn't been any of that. I think that if he can accept that role, which I think he has, then it'll help him get back in form. And I think it's important for fans to recognize that we don't have the wherewithal to just sell all these players and keep replacing them. So we got to kind of let everyone come together. Players are going to play on merit under Ten Hag. That much is clear. Scott McTominay continues to start because he's been better than Casemiro. You will play if you play well, and that's all that matters. And as fans, that's what we need to back, that concept. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope it kind of covered everything. I'll keep trying to answer questions in the comments in next videos, cover the news that comes out. I did the first kind of FIFA web app stream on Twitch the other day. I'll continue to do things like that. I'm going to do one today in a few minutes. Just for fun to keep things going. We can hang out, talk about things. I answer questions on there, not FIFA related, but footy related and all of that as well. So kind of just a fun place to hang out if, especially over the international break, as we're a bit bored and all of that. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on, and I'll see you in the next video.